You paid off your house. Maybe it was last month. Maybe it was 8 months ago. And you still haven't done anything intentional with the money. You made that last payment. It felt incredible for about a week. You told yourself you'd figure out what to do with the extra cash once things settled down. And then things did settle down, but you still didn't decide. Now the money shows up in your budget every month and quietly disappears. Not into anything obviously bad, just into the background noise of everyday life. A slightly nicer grocery run, a weekend getaway, a home project that genuinely needed doing. And somewhere in the back of your mind, there's a number you don't love. Here's what that number actually is. The median freed mortgage payment in America right now is somewhere between $1,500 and $2,200 a month. Over about 13 years, the typical time between paying off a house and retiring. That's roughly $600,000 if you invest it, or $0 if you let it drift away. $600,000 gone. Not because you did anything reckless, but because you made a mental note and then moved on with your life. My name is Nick, and I spend way too much time thinking about the financial decisions people make in the quiet months after a major milestone, when the celebration is over and the money is just sitting there, waiting for instructions that never come. If that sounds like you, stick with me. Because what we're about to cover is the thing nobody tells you to think about before you make that final payment. Let me introduce you to someone. We'll call her Karen. She's 54, works in HR at a mid-sized manufacturing company outside Columbus, Ohio. She bought her house in 2001 for $187,000, back when that actually bought you a house. After years of extra payments and refinancing into a 15-year loan, Karen made her final mortgage payment last Tuesday morning. $1,940 a month, gone. She celebrated the right way, opened a bottle of wine, called her sister, took Friday off work just to sit in her house and enjoy the feeling that it was finally hers. And it was a genuinely great week. Then month 2 arrived. The 15th came and went, and nothing left her account. Karen, who had been budgeting around that $1,940 payment for over 2 decades, suddenly had $1,940 of unassigned money sitting in her checking account. And she did what most people do. She made a mental note to do something smart with it, and then went about her week. This is where things start to go wrong for most people. Not dramatically, not through one big mistake, just quietly, 1 month at a time, through the slowest, most boring financial leak imaginable. The free payment gets absorbed into your life like water into carpet. Here's why. Your brain is wired for pursuit, not possession. It spent 20 years chasing this goal. And the moment the chase ends, it starts looking for something new. There's even a name for this, the arrival fallacy. It's the idea that reaching a big goal won't feel as permanently fulfilling as you expected. And if you don't give your brain a new target, it will find one on its own, usually with a monthly payment attached. The second force working against Karen is what behavioral economists call the licensing effect. After 20 years of discipline, your brain has been quietly keeping score. The moment the mortgage disappears, it presents the bill. Not for anything outrageous, just small upgrades. A slightly nicer car lease. The kitchen renovation you've been delaying. Subscriptions you canceled when money was tight. Each decision feels reasonable. Together, they quietly consume the entire $1,940. And Karen doesn't notice, because nothing about it feels irresponsible. That's the trap. It never feels like a mistake while it's happening. And when people say lifestyle creep absorbs the payment, it sounds accidental. But in reality, it's a series of small, deliberate choices that add up over time. Just deliberate in small doses. Month 1, Karen makes the mental note. Month 2, her car lease is up. She's been driving the same sensible Honda Accord for 3 years, and the dealer shows her the updated version. Same monthly structure, just a slightly higher trim. She can afford it now. She signs. There goes $340 a month. Month 3, she finally books the bathroom renovation she's been putting off since 2019. Just one bathroom, not even the main one. A reasonable $8,400 project, financed over 18 months because the contractor offers it. Another $490 a month. Month 4, she restarts the gym membership she canceled during the tight mortgage years. This time it's the nicer facility, the one with cycling classes and a smoothie bar she'll use exactly twice. Month 5, she upgrades her cable package. Month 6, she books a vacation she genuinely needed and puts it on a credit card she plans to pay off over 4 months. None of this is reckless. That's the point. Karen didn't blow her freedom on anything stupid. She just let a series of small, reasonable decisions quietly consume a payment that, if redirected with intention, could have become something extraordinary. Her freed payment is $1,940 a month. She's 54 and plans to retire at 67. That gives her 13 years. If she invests that $1,940 every month into a basic S&P 500 index fund, assuming an 8% annual return, which is actually conservative compared to historical averages, she ends up with about $529,000. Out of that, she only contributed $302,640. The remaining $226,000 comes from compounding, money growing on its own while she sleeps. But Karen does what most people do. She lets the freed payment dissolve into a nicer car, a bathroom renovation, and a gym she stops going to. At the end of 13 years, she has $0 in additional retirement savings, and a bathroom that's probably already starting to look outdated. The difference between those two versions of Karen? $529,000. That is, for most Americans, the entire difference between a comfortable retirement and a financially fragile one, between retiring on your own terms and working until someone else makes that decision for you. And here's what the wrong version actually feels like at 67. It feels like sitting across from a financial advisor, running the numbers to see if you can retire this year, and realizing the answer is probably not yet. Not because you didn't earn enough, not because you didn't work hard, but because the money was there every single month for 13 years, and you never gave it a destination. It feels like watching your colleagues retire at 65 and telling yourself, maybe next year, knowing that next year is just the same calculation, with worse numbers. And here's the part that really stings. Karen spent $1,940 a month on completely reasonable things. Not one of those decisions would look irresponsible to anyone on the outside. No sports car, no vacation home, just a slightly nicer Honda and a bathroom she actually enjoys. $500,000 gone. One sensible Tuesday at a time. So how does Karen actually fix this instead of losing it? And I want to be precise here because most financial advice at this point says things like make a budget or be more disciplined. That's not the answer. Willpower is not a financial strategy. The fix is almost insultingly simple. Automate the redirect before the money ever hits Karen's checking account. For 23 years, Karen's mortgage payment came out on the 15th of every month. $1,940 gone. She never had to think about it because there was no decision to make. It was automatic. The most powerful move she can make now is to recreate that exact system. Set up an automatic investment transfer on the 15th of every month. Same day, same amount, different destination. Now her brain never labels it as extra money because it never gets the chance. It disappears the same way the mortgage did, automatically, quietly, before her checking account balance has time to look tempting. This isn't about discipline. It's about design. A 10-minute setup that overrides thousands of years of human psychology. Do this first, before you optimize investments, before you debate priorities. Because the most important step isn't where the money goes. It's making sure it never has the chance to go anywhere else. All right, here's the hierarchy that makes the most mathematical sense for almost everyone in Karen's situation. Step by step, in order. First, build a real emergency fund. I know you came here for the investing part, and I'm starting with an emergency fund. But here's why it matters. When Karen had a mortgage, her monthly expenses included that $1,940 payment. Now they don't. That means her 6-month emergency fund target just dropped by about $11,600. She might already be closer than she thinks, but she has to check. And that money needs to sit in a high-yield savings account. Right now, the best high-yield accounts are paying around 4% to 4.2% annually. The national average at a traditional bank? Around 0.39%. If Karen has $30,000 sitting in a regular checking account just in case, she's leaving about $1,100 per year on the table for doing absolutely nothing. Move it. It takes 5 minutes. Second, eliminate high-interest debt, credit cards, personal loans, car loans above 7%. Every dollar Karen puts toward a 22% credit card balance is a guaranteed 22% return. No index fund on earth can promise that with certainty. If you're carrying revolving credit card debt, clear it before you invest a single dollar in the market. Third, max out tax-advantaged accounts. And this is where something surprising happens. When Karen finally sits down and looks at her accounts, probably for the first time in years, she opens her 401k. She's been contributing 6% of her salary to get the employer match. The same percentage she chose when she was hired back in 2009. And she never changed it because the mortgage always came first. She didn't know, and honestly, why would she? No one tells you this unprompted. At 54, she can contribute up to $31,000 per year, not the standard $23,500. Why? Because once you're over 50, the IRS allows catch-up contributions, an extra $7,500 on top of the base limit. She's been leaving nearly $18,000 of tax-advantaged space unused every year. Not because she couldn't afford it, because the mortgage was in the way. Now it's not. Then she finally opens something she's been meaning to start for years, a Roth IRA. The 2026 contribution limit for her age is $8,000 per year. That's about $666 a month. And here's the key difference. Every dollar that grows inside a Roth IRA comes out in retirement completely tax-free. Not tax-deferred. Tax-free. Permanently. So she sets up an automatic $666 monthly contribution, leaves it alone for 13 years, earning an average of 8%. And that account alone grows to about $182,000 by age 67. Out of that, roughly $78,000 is pure growth. Never taxed. Not a loophole. Not a trick. Just a system most people never fully use. The account is working exactly the way it was designed to. Use it. One quick note. If your income is above $165,000 as a single filer or $246,000 married filing jointly, direct Roth IRA contributions start to phase out. But a backdoor Roth conversion still keeps the door open. Fourth, invest the rest in a taxable brokerage account. Once the emergency fund is solid and your tax-advantaged accounts are maxed out, everything else goes here. Keep it simple. A basic S&P 500 or total market index fund. Nothing fancy. Nothing you need to watch daily. Just something that tracks the overall economy instead of trying to outsmart it. At this point, Karen isn't guessing anymore. She's investing from a position of strength. Every tax advantage available to her is already working in the background. Now here's something that surprises a lot of people after they pay off their mortgage. Your mortgage is gone. Your financial responsibilities to your house are not. For years, Karen's lender managed an escrow account behind the scenes, collecting part of her monthly payment and using it to pay property taxes and homeowners insurance. She never saw those bills. They just got handled. But the moment the mortgage is paid off, that escrow account disappears. And nobody warns you. No letter shows up explaining that your county tax office is about to send a $5,200 bill due in full, with late fees that feel borderline aggressive. No insurance company calls to remind you that your annual premium is now entirely your responsibility. For 20-plus years, the system made sure Karen never missed a payment. Then it offers zero guidance the moment she's on her own. The fix is simple. Recreate escrow yourself. Open a separate savings account and name it something obvious, like house escrow. Then automate a monthly transfer that covers asterisk property taxes, asterisk homeowners insurance, asterisk maintenance reserve, all divided by 12. Let's break it down for Karen. Asterisk property taxes. $3,600 per year asterisk insurance. $1,800 per year asterisk maintenance. 1% of a $310,000 home, $3,100 per year. That's $8,500 annually, or about $700 per month. Set it up. Automate it. Forget about it. Just like the mortgage used to be. Because the real theme here isn't just investing. It's replacing systems that used to make decisions for you with systems you control. And the people who win financially after paying off their house, they're not more disciplined. They just rebuild the machine on their terms. Karen's freed payment isn't really $1,940. Once she accounts for property taxes, insurance, and maintenance, it's closer to $240 a month of truly available cash. Not $1,940, with a surprise $5,200 bill waiting in October. Now one more thing, because this is where a lot of people go wrong. Do not use your home equity as an investment fund. Karen's house is worth about $310,000. That number feels real. It shows up on apps, on estimates, on paper. It feels like money you can use. And around month 3, someone always plants the idea. A neighbor mentions they opened a HELOC, a home equity line of credit, and used it to buy a rental property. It worked out for them. So Karen starts doing the math. HELOC rates are around 7.2% to 7.6%. So she'd be borrowing at 7.2% to invest in something that might return 8% to 10% on average. On paper, that's a 1% to 3% spread. Sounds reasonable. Until reality shows up. Because markets don't return averages every year. There are years where the market drops 20%, and those years don't send a warning email first. In that scenario, Karen is paying 7.2% interest on borrowed money watching her investments lose value and using her house, the one she just finished paying off, as collateral again. She spent decades freeing that house. Now she's putting it back on the line to maybe make a small spread in a good year. That's not strategy. That's risk dressed up as sophistication. Karen's home equity is not an investment account. It's insurance. It's the asset she can fall back on in a true worst-case scenario. It's the reason she will never be completely financially wiped out, as long as she owns it free and clear. And the people who stay financially stable long-term, they don't just focus on growing money. They protect the foundations that keep them from ever starting over. That peace of mind is worth far more than any tiny spread between a HELOC rate and a market return. Use your monthly cash flow to invest. Don't borrow against your house to do it. They sound similar. They're not. Now let's look at the other version of Karen, the one who gets this right from the beginning. Instead of making a mental note, she sets everything up in month 1. She automatically invests $666/month into her Roth IRA. She increases her 401k to fully use the $31,000 catch-up limit. She redirects the freed mortgage cash to cover the reduced take-home pay. She sets up her self-managed escrow at $700/month. She builds her emergency fund in the first few months using a 4.1% high-yield savings account. And she keeps $300/month for intentional spending. Things she actually plans and enjoys, like a trip to Italy or a couple of great dinners each month. This isn't deprivation. It's control. So what does this version of Karen look like at 67? Her Roth IRA alone grows to about $182,000. Every dollar of growth completely tax-free. Her 401k compounds on top of everything she's already built. Her taxable brokerage account adds another $200,000 plus in total. She builds roughly $450,000 to $550,000 in additional wealth. And here's the key. She didn't get a raise. She didn't start a business. She didn't work longer hours. She simply redirected money that was already leaving her account every month and gave it a purpose. That's the entire strategy. And here's what actually matters most. The biggest source of financial stress in your 40s and 50s isn't low income. It's lack of margin. Every unexpected expense feels like a crisis because there's nowhere for the money to come from without breaking something else. For most people, the mortgage was the reason for that. The fixed weight everything else had to orbit around. Now it's gone. And what replaces it, if you're intentional, is something far more powerful. Margin, the kind where a $6,000 HVAC replacement is annoying but not life-altering. The kind where you can change careers at 55, because you're not one missed paycheck away from losing your house. The kind where retirement is a choice you make, not a deadline someone else imposes. But that margin doesn't appear automatically. It only shows up if you build it deliberately in writing, before the first payment-free month ever arrives. Because if you don't, the licensing effect and all those reasonable Tuesday decisions will quietly take over. You didn't spend 23 years making mortgage payments just to stop here. You spent 23 years earning your way to the starting line of what comes next. The only question is whether you recognize that before your lifestyle slowly expands to absorb the opportunity. So here's the actual advice. The week you make your final payment, not after the celebration, not when things settle down. That week, asterisk, 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 asterisk. Write down the exact number you just freed up asterisk and next to it. Assign every dollar a destination, break it into categories like asterisk self-managed escrow asterisk emergency fund asterisk Roth IRA asterisk 401k asterisk intentional life spending. Then, this is the part that matters most. Set up every automatic transfer before the first payment-free month arrives. Not because it's complicated, but because the alternative is Karen's bathroom. And Karen's bathroom is very nice. But it is not $529,000 nice. If this shifted how you think about what comes after paying off your house, that's the point. Because most people don't lose financially through bad decisions.